I haven't really tested the image quality between these two cameras, the Olympus 1 series cameras. This is the X and this is the Mark II version. And today I'm gonna test the noise level on these cameras, the image quality. So I'm concentrating on the noise level. Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgard, an Olympus visionary from Helsinki, Finland. And before we start comparing the noise on those two cameras, please consider to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you get notified when there is new video online. I post 2 videos a week, usually on Tuesdays and on Fridays. And remember, my channel is all about you getting to be a better photographer. And you're probably wondering what that noise is. That's from my robotic camera, which is actually a drone. But that's not the case on this video. The E-M1 Mark II is a really good camera, and so is the E-M1X. And they're both really beasts when it comes to professional work. And as I said in this video, I'm going to concentrate on the noise level of these cameras. And I know noise is not the only part of image quality, but on this video I will concentrate on the noise. The E-M1X has 2 processors, 2 PIC-8 processors. So you would assume that it would be better when it comes to noise. And I've always said that it's about half a stop better. But I have never really tested them head to head, so I can't be sure. So this is going to be really interesting for me too. First test I took was taking pictures of Kretak MkII color checker. And I wanted to do that. I don't usually do that, but this time I wanted to do and see how it performs, or how the camera performs comparing to each other when comparing noise. And also I wanted to see how the color is rendering. That's why I chose the color target. I had the exact same settings on both cameras. That's because then the settings won't be interfering my results. And I used 40 to 150 millimeter lens just because it has a tripod collar, so that I can change the camera in the back of a lens and the crop stays exactly the same. And what I also did was that I used the exposure to the right method so that I could get the most out of highlights of my camera without blowing them up, of course. And with this method, if you're not used to doing this method, it's a really, really great method. And what's great about mirrorless cameras are that you can actually see, you have all the information in the viewfinder or the LCD. And I have known a lot of people that are using DSLRs that are just in case underexposing a couple of stops. And what happens, they actually lose the advantage of the 2-stop benefit that they supposedly are getting with the biggest sensor. But with the mirrorless, you can always expose spot on. I started with ISO 200 on both cameras and went all the way up to 25,600. And then I also made images with the low ISO. The X has 64 and 100, and the E-M1 Mark II has ISO 100 as a low ISO. My settings for the exposure can be found in my blog. There's a blog post about those settings. I put a link in the description of this video to that blog post. So be sure to watch that if that's a new concept to you. But let's get into my office and see those images and see how the noise is different from the different cameras. Okay, here we are in Lightroom, and now I have all the images of the targets selected here. And the E-M1X is the blue ones, or the violet, and red ones are E-M1 Mark II images. And this one, let's start with this one, with the very, very bright image. As you can see, this is very bright. This is the exposure that I made. And as you can see here, we have the flag color is on. Let's put the underexposure also on. And as you can see from the histogram, it's almost everything is on the right side. So this is the way to get the most out of the exposure and best image quality overall. And as you can see, the noise reduction is the default that I usually have. The 25 for color, detail is 50, and smoothness is 50. And no luminance correction on this one. we need some black, of course, here. And then I've already done this, so this is the adjusted version of the image. And let's look what I've done. I've the color temperature measured from here, so that every color temperature is exactly the same. Then exposure is down a bit, and then blacks, so that there is slightly underexposed on the edges of this image, which is okay. This is pitch black, so it's supposed to be black. It could be even blacker. That's a wrong word, more black. But then you would lose every detail in the black if you make it pitch black. The same goes with the white, which is 98, almost pure white. And there is some room for 100%, but if you want some detail, then this is okay. And now it looks a lot better. But let's look at the noise level, and this is what it looks like. And let's go back to the library module, and we will compare these two and see what the difference is. And you don't see much of a difference here. Let's see which one is which. Not really sure. The ones that selected, okay, let's see now. We have selected. So as you can see, there's not much of a difference. This is the selected one. It's a bit less, I guess, but not really that much. It looks a bit different, but to be honest, I don't really see. And the colors, let's see about the colors. We have, let's see the yellows. As you can see here, there's a bit of a difference. It's a bit of a brighter color with the Mark II. And but as you can see from here, you don't see a big of a difference with the colors. They're almost identical. Let's see if there is any difference between the 200. Let's open up those and let's see if there is any difference in the 200. Not really. There isn't any big difference on these. And let's see about the color. It can't really, now it's easier to, yeah, it's about the same difference with the colors. And this one is the E-M1X again, the ones that's selected. Let's make that sure, yeah. There isn't much of a difference. Remember that this is only a lab test, and real life test is a totally different thing. But it was interesting to test this and see what the difference is. But as you can see, or I don't know if you can see from the video, is if there is a difference. But I would say that there isn't much of a difference on this lab test. But let's go back outside. We're back here in the sunny Helsinki. As you see, it's not very warm because I have a coat on. It's quite windy, but the drone is holding quite nicely, sitting at how high? Well, I can't see it right now from this view. But as you saw, those images, they were done in a lab conditions, and that's not real life. You never, but very seldom have images taken in that kind of situations and comparing the noise on that. I went to Helsinki and made some images, real life images with both of these cameras with high ISOs, and wanted to compare how they cope and if I can see any differences on that. Alright, hope you enjoyed the images. Welcome back to Viikki, Helsinki. And before I make my conclusion on these two cameras, actually they're there on the grass, I want to talk about a little bit how to avoid noise in the first place. The first thing is that you need to expose really spot on. If you underexpose and then you have to lift up the exposure in post, you will be in trouble what comes to the noise. It will introduce noise. So when you are able to make a very bright image like this one, and then you pull down the exposure, you will get a lot better result. So I usually have the noise reduction off from camera, and I do the noise reduction in post in Lightroom. I find that to be a better solution. And now to the conclusion. Both cameras performed really nicely. I didn't see any problem because I usually don't have a problem with noise anyways. It all depends what the noise looks like. It's not always the noise that's ugly. It's about how it looks. And I think both of these cameras produce pretty good looking noise, if you can say that a noise is good looking. And I didn't see any big differences with these. So I said in the beginning of this video that I might expect a half a stop difference, but I don't see that there is a difference at all, which is in a sense, yeah, okay, they have the same sensor, but yet again, the X is a bit newer camera, so you would expect it has to be a bit better image quality. But to be honest, it doesn't. The improvements are, as I said many times, in different areas, in video and in autofocus performance, and some other cool features that it has. But if you want to get the best image quality without almost any noise, then you should use the low ISOs. With the E-M1X, use the ISO 64, and with the E-M1 Mark II, the ISO 100 is a lot better. You lose a little bit of dynamic range, but not that much. So if you have a scene or a big print that you want to do, use the low ISO. It will make you a better image. And remember, this was not a scientific test. I only observed them with my eye. I didn't do any official measurements. But that's the way you usually are with images. Why would you pixel peep when if it looks okay in your screen and you're okay with it? Why bother pixel peeping? That's for test labs and R&Ds of camera manufacturers and such. But as a photographer, if the image looks good on your screen, that should be enough for you. And there was actually one difference that I found that has to do with the exposure, how the camera measures the exposure. And there was a bit of a difference, but I will get back to that in the near future with a new video, because this was only about the noise. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now. Yeah, it's the battery, don't worry. I'll take it down.